Konnichiwa. 調子はどう?
Hello guys! So I've been trying to optimize S.Coronis as a DPS, and I think I lost a few hairs doing it. Honestly, I don't recommend anyone doing this, but if you don't have a full mark team, or you just want to try pushing her as a DPS and see how far she can go, here's what it actually takes to make this work. This isn't meant to be a full guide. I just want to share what I found after trying to force S.Coronis as a DPS, especially since it might matter for future Terra character.
あれは少し調べてみようか。
So first, let's talk about the team. Nazuna is a must here, and she has to stay in the main slot, simply because she is too strong as a support. But for the second slot, this is where we face the first issue with DPS S.Coronis. She doesn't have proper second support besides Nazuna. Even someone like Telia, she barely works with her, since most of Telia's buff benefit main slot DPS, not support slot DPS. But despite that, she is still the second best option we currently have.
準備完了。出撃であります。
Now about the build, I went with Rose build instead of Wither. For my test runs against Ignis boss, Rose build actually performed a lot better, even though no one in this team can trigger mark for reciprocity. Also for this current boss, Wither just doesn't work well, since it is stationary with damage over time. It just loses too much value when the boss moves around. So Rose build become the best option here, because you can just dump all her damage in a short window. The problem with this team is that you only have about 0.75 seconds to land S.Coronis burst. Because Nazuna's Terra damage taken debuff only applies after her penguin kabooms itself, which is exactly when you want S.Coronis skill to hit. But at the same time, the buffs from Wily Wonder and Cutie Rally are already about to expire around that moment. So you are forced to land both hits inside the tiny overlap where everything is still active. If you cast too early, Terra Shred isn't up yet. But if you are too late, the buffs are already gone. And that is exactly why I don't recommend doing this. But if you still want to try this, you basically have to work around that timing.
あなたって賢いんでしょ?
So to land both hits inside that 0.75 second window, the key is to cast S.Coronis skill when Nazuna's cooldown is at 6 seconds. But since their cooldowns are different, you have to force the timing yourself, and there are basically two situations where you are doing that. At the start of the fight, after dropping Nazuna's penguin, you have to wait until Nazuna's cooldown is at 6 seconds. Then cast S.Coronis skill. But after that, for the rest of the fight, their cooldowns won't match anymore. So you have to delay Nazuna's skill a little bit. Just wait until S.Coronis skill has 3 seconds remaining, then summon Nazuna Penguin at that moment. That way, by the time Nazuna cooldown is back at 6 seconds again, S.Coronis skill will be ready. And that's basically how you keep S.Coronis skill inside that 0.75 second window. For Telia, you can just use her skill and ultimate whenever it's up. But to keep things simple, just use her skill together with Nazuna. And once you get used to this, it's actually a lot easier than it sounds.
面白いデータを持ち帰りたいね。
The reason I wanted to share this isn't just to show how limited she is as a DPS. It's because she honestly feels like a puzzle piece waiting for a future main DPS. Right now, her 40% Terra damage taken is heavily underutilized, and extra damage from reciprocity doesn't get triggered in this team either. So it really feels like she's waiting for someone who can fully take advantage of her kit while letting her stay on Rose build as a sub DPS. Now you could argue that Jiri in main slot already fills that role, and that is true. But if you already have Jiri and Nazuna, then there is no real reason to do this. You just play Mark team. It's far stronger and barely requires any investment. And one more thing, you might see from my post that her DPS potential is also tied to boss size. Because all 7 of her fields can deal damage independently, so her value goes up if the boss is large enough for her skill to reliably hit everything. FE boss might fit the build here, but right now, the current boss is probably her worst matchup. So if you want to play her as a DPS in the current content, you are going to feel that limitation right away.
はい、できた。
So in my opinion, S.Coronis has the potential to be a strong sub DPS that also offers support to the team. But with the characters we currently have, that part of her kit is still underutilized. And you basically have to play her as a triple Nazuna if you want to run her as a DPS right now. And that's just my take on S.Coronis as sub DPS. What do you think about this? Do you think I'm just coping? Or is she already good enough as a Tilia replacement? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.